After my recent Best CPU Coolers of 2023 video, MSI reached out to me with an opportunity to check out a liquid cooler that they claim provides the ultimate silence cooling. I told them to send it on over, and I gotta say, if they put in as much effort to building the cooler as they did in the box, we might have a winner here. You're looking at MSI's top-tier MEG Coreliquid S360 all-in-one liquid cooler. It comes in both 280 and 360 millimeter versions, which is the one I have here. The S280 costs $249.99 USD, while the S360's price is $279.99. Amazon is currently selling them for $215 and $258. So if you're thinking about picking one up, now's the time. Make sure you use my affiliate links below. It doesn't cost you anything extra and keeps the lights on here, so why not do it? I'm not going to waste any more of your time talking about specs or things that you can read right from the company's website, but I do want to give a huge thanks to MSI for sending this over for us to review. Now let's open this thing up and see what we got. Okay, so first thing to greet you is a simple user guide. We better save this for later, just in case. The S360 cooler is both Intel 1700 and AM5 compatible, in case you're wondering. You have the Intel 1700 mounting studs, AM4 and AM5 ones as well, they're the same thing. Longer screws for mounting the fans to the radiator, hardware for securing the CPU pump block to the motherboard, and both the AMD bracket and plastic Intel backplate. MSI includes 3 nicely packaged 120mm hydrodynamic bearing fans that feel very premium and look amazing, even though they're not RGB. These are MSI's MEG Silent Gale P12 fans. The housing is hard plastic, and the blade fans almost have a pressed look, if that makes sense. All 4 corners are covered with rubber for noise dampening, and each fan also has a 4-pin PWM connector. The 360mm aluminum radiator and pump are packaged nicely and well protected. They've done this because the pump head is extremely large, and it houses a ton of technology. The radiator dimensions are 394 by 120 by 27 millimeters. You might need these dimensions if you're looking to fit this into your case. I want to talk about this huge block, because that's the main selling point for this AIO and what really starts to justify the high price. It comes with the Intel bracket pre-installed. That top you see is simply a cover. It's removed by just pulling it as it's held on by magnets. Remove this cover and you've got a beautiful 2.4-inch IPS display screen, which allows for your choice of vital PC stats, animated graphics, time, or even the weather. Underneath the screen is a 60mm fan that pulls air in from side vents and pushes it onto the pump head, across the VRM, MOSFETs, and even M.2 SSDs. This equates to much lower temps compared to traditional liquid coolers that allow no airflow other than what the case fans provide. You wrap all this up with the proven performance of an Asetek 7th generation pump. Let me just tell you, MSI knows what's good. Now this CPU block has a lot of connections coming off of it. You have the CPU fan 3-pin plug, a daisy chain connector for all the 4-pin PWM radiator fans, a SATA plug for power, and a USB connector for communication to the motherboard. And that's everything included in the box. Time for some testing. I originally hooked the cooler up to my test bench to do some thermal testing, but I decided to throw it into a system for more realistic numbers and to get some good B-roll shots. For those of you that frequently watch my videos, I used a recent build I put together here on the channel, but swapped out the CPU for something a little more powerful to push as much heat at the cooler as possible. I chose the Ryzen 9 3950X. Of course, the testing was done with all panels installed and using the default fan settings. I threw in a couple other coolers too, both air and another liquid cooler, for reference points. Oh, and I also use a graphite thermal pad for all of my testing instead of thermal paste. It just makes it easier for testing purposes, and the thermal pad doesn't affect things enough to matter, at most a degree or two. I honestly did not expect the Wraith Prism cooler to do so well in these tests. But enough about that. The S360 did really good in its own. Temperatures were excellent with the Cinebench R23 multi-core test running at 62 degrees Celsius. R23 runs all CPU cores at 100% load and creates what might be one of the most stressful conditions your CPU will ever see. The Coreliquid S360 performed well, achieving the lowest temps overall, but it wasn't anything incredible. The EK 240mm AIO was only about 1 to 2 degrees higher than the S360, and it comes in at about $100 cheaper. I can't complain though, it does perform really well and it beats all the other competition that I put up against it in this test. Now performance looks good, but you're probably wondering, what about the noise? The only noise I really noticed was pump whine, and it's only noticeable when the system is at idle. I tried adjusting the pump settings, but the lowest it will allow you to run is 60%, which is about 1700 RPMs. It's a small problem to deal with when the fans are so silent, but when it was inside the case and the side panel was on, I couldn't hear anything. MSI Center is a big selling point for this cooler. It's the software you're going to need to make it work. It wasn't too hard to find it. I just went to MSI's website on the Coreliquid S360 information page, scrolled down a bit, and saw the download button. MSI Center is so easy to use. Its user interface is well laid out with tabs at the top for your main functions. Once you click the Coreliquid tab, you have the choice between display or fan setting options. Under the LCD display, you've got hardware monitor where you can select what stats you want to see, such as CPU temp or frequency, GPU usage, FPS, or even fan speed. If you click multiple buttons, the LCD screen will flip through each one every few seconds. You also have the option to display a GIF, icons, system clock, or the weather. If you decide to upload a custom picture or video, it'll need to be no larger than 320 by 240 pixels. The top right has choices to turn the display on and off, adjust your brightness, and change the orientation of the screen depending on how you have it mounted to the motherboard. The fan settings are easy to use too. They give you options to control the radiator fans, the pump fan, and the 60mm CPU fan. You can click preset choices like silent, balanced, or game mode, which is performance mode. Or you can customize your fan curve by dragging the dots on each chart. Like I said, it's got lots of features while still being super easy to use. MSI doesn't have many competitors in this category. The only one that comes to mind is the ASUS ROG Ryujin 2 360. It's almost a carbon copy of the S360 in that it's a 360mm radiator with 3 non-RGB fans, and it includes a giant pump head with an LCD screen and an embedded VRM fan. The main difference here is that MSI's cooler is about $30 cheaper, and that's when it's not on sale. Also, availability of these is a lot higher than their ASUS counterpart. So the final question is, should you buy MSI's Coreliquid S360? If you skipped to this part of the video, shame on you. You should go back and watch it to get the full effect. That, and it makes all my blood, sweat, and tears worth it. Let me just say, I really like this thing. If you're in the market for a premium, all-in-one liquid cooler and don't mind paying top dollar, you won't find many better options than this. If I could sum up the S360 into 3 words, it would be stylish, simplistic, performance. Now, I've been eyeballing the ASUS Ryujin 2 for quite some time in hopes of upgrading my editing PC, but thanks to MSI, I think I'm going to be taking a different direction with this one. And if you enjoyed the video, remember, give us a like and subscribe down below for more PC tech related content. And as I always say, I'm Danny with Danny's Tech Channel, and I'll see you in the next one.